that would probably blow it up because it can get quite hot. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope your day is going great. Today we're taking a look at the Surface Pro 7. So I got the Surface Pro 7 with the i5 processor and 8GB of RAM and then 128GB of storage. At the time it cost me £899, but that was a student deal, so it came with this for full price and then a free keyboard and a free mouse as well. Now I ended up giving the mouse away. It looked fine, it looked like a decent mouse, but I already have one, so I just didn't see the point. I like my mouse now, so I just gave it with someone else that I thought could do with it. But I did of course keep the keyboard, as you can see here. So this comes with a USB-A port and a USB-C port and then a separate kind of magnetic charging port as well. And on the charging brick as well, it has a spare USB-A port that you can use to charge your phone or something like that, which I've actually got a lot of use out of. I really like that feature. It does also have both a front and rear camera. The front camera is great, the front camera's fine. The rear camera, in my opinion, isn't so good, but to be fair, it's basically a mini laptop, so I don't really know if you'd use the rear camera that much anyway. It's not exactly what you'd buy it for. And like I said, it did come for me with a mouse and keyboard. I think for most people, these will be as separate purchases, and I think they're really important to have. I would not be able to use this without either one of those. But of course, they are also expensive in themselves, which can be a bit annoying. The screen itself, I think, looks absolutely beautiful. And other people, like looking over my shoulder, have made that observation too. It is a really nice screen with both resolution and the color reproduction. But the aspect ratio is a bit weird. If you watch anything like TV or some like YouTube videos in full screen mode, there will be two kind of big black bars. So if it's just for media consumption, that can get a bit annoying. Now I also bought it with the pen. Now that didn't come with it, I had to pay for that. That was $99.99 on the Microsoft Store. They're usually cheaper on Amazon, so I'd recommend getting them there if you can. And the pen actually has worked fine for me. I've really enjoyed using it, but we'll talk about that more later on. And the keyboard itself, I think, is actually really nice. The keys kind of feel okay. They're backlit if you're using it in kind of dark situations, which is really nice as well. And I've used it for lots of different things, from just surfing the web to also typing up my university essays. And the tablet with the keyboard on and everything as a package is also really convenient. It's not heavy at all. It will fit in almost any bag. And the main thing that I love about this is the fact that it runs full normal Windows like you'd get on a desktop. When I'm typing up my university essays, when it comes to things like referencing and stuff like that, I really like to use Chrome extensions. They help me out a lot. And of course, if I were to use like iPad Pro or even the newest iPad Air, I wouldn't actually be able to use any of those Chrome extensions in the Chrome app. Along with the fact that I can also run the full versions of things like Premiere Pro and Photoshop and get all of the features, not just a few of the ones that they've given to the iPad app as well. So that's kind of the main reason I bought this. I wanted to use my different effects in Photoshop, and I really needed those Chrome extensions when it came to writing my essays. I also like the fact that this has its own kickstand included. You don't have to kind of buy that separately or buy a keyboard that's got one. Again, if you buy the keyboard anyway, it's not that big of a deal because it's just as expensive, if not more, than some of the Logitech ones for the iPads. But I like that it's included anyway, because even when you don't want to use the keyboard, you can just prop it up wherever and watch a film or do whatever you like. Now, I also talked about how I like to run the full versions of Premiere Pro and Photoshop. And to be honest, I was expecting the experience on both of those programs to be a lot worse than it was. Now, like I said, this has an i5 processor and 8GB of RAM, so I wasn't really expecting much, but I was really pleasantly surprised. I've used this to edit a lot of different videos. Now, the file sizes aren't always huge, and it's usually capped out at 1080p, and the lag is often minimal. Now, what I have noticed is this really depends on the power mode that you're using. I always use it on kind of maximum power, best performance, and it uses a lot of battery life. It does. But to be fair, I'm usually within reach of a plug anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. I'd rather get the full power out of this than an extra bit of battery life and have an awful experience. And of course, you can get Surface Pros with i7 processors and 16GB RAM, which means your experience in those things will be even better. They were just a little bit out of my price range because they do get expensive quite fast. So those were all pretty much the things that I like about it. So let's talk about some things that I don't like. Windows Hello is very hit and miss for me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and a lot of the time it works, it takes a little while to do it. I'd rather just swipe up, type a pin in, and go. And I talked about the pen earlier, but you haven't actually seen me show it at all. And that's because it attaches onto the side of the tablet just here with a magnet. Now I've had a few issues with that. I don't think this magnet is strong enough. For the keyboard, it attaches really solidly, really well, and it's hard to get off. It's not the same with the pen. I've lost 2 of them just in everyday usage carrying it around. And like I said, the pens can cost you up to 100 quid. So that's really annoying. And it's more specifically annoying because I bought this to help me take notes on. I like to write my notes, but I don't want to have about 8 different notebooks. So I figured I'd get one place to store them all, take my notes on here. And obviously now I can't do that because I lost all my pens. I found the tip of the pen sometimes really easy to break as well. I'm a clumsy guy, so I dropped it a couple of times and then the tip was bent as well. But luckily they do sell tip replacement packs that are only about 20 quid and they come with a few different options. So that's nice, but overall I think the attaching system, it just needs to improve. Another thing that I've noticed is that I need to do system updates on this all the time. It gets kind of annoying. And the thing is, it'll work fine before the system update needs to be done, but as soon as I see that little yellow circle above the system update box, it starts getting funny. My brightness slider doesn't work. I'll be pressing the brightness key on the keyboard and trying to work the slider, nothing will change. And another thing that happens is the charger can be quite funny. So like I said, it was a magnetic one. It fits in this slot right there. And half the time I'll plug it in and it'll be connected properly, it'll be turned on, everything will be fine, and it just won't charge. And then I'll have to go and fiddle with stuff and poke things about, switch some connections around, and after pretty much changing nothing, in theory it should have worked before and it should work afterwards, it'll only work afterwards. And that's what frustrates me with this. This is a product that you buy pretty much solely to be convenient. You can take it with you wherever you go and it will do everything that you need it to do. But if it means that my pen drops off every 10 seconds, I can't adjust the brightness and I can't even charge it half the time, then what's the point? But when it comes to losing the pen, I guess I should take at least some responsibility for that as well, because I am a clumsy guy. It's probably just as much my fault. So if we let them off the pen thing and put the blame on me for that, it makes this look a lot more attractive. Because like I said, the keyboard feels nice. I've used it from surfing the web to typing thousands of words in essays, and it's felt fine. It's always run the programs I've wanted to, whether that's Netflix apps, YouTube, just Chrome, surfing, or even Photoshop and more resource-heavy things such as Premiere Pro. Now when it comes to Premiere Pro, I said I was surprised with the power. I wouldn't try editing anything in 4K though, that would probably blow it up because it can get quite hot. So I wouldn't say that this Surface Pro 7 is perfect. But I would say that even with all the negatives, I'd still rather have this than an iPad Pro or the latest iPad Air. It might not be as smooth as the iPad, it might not have that 120Hz screen on the iPad Pro, but it can run the proper version of things like Photoshop and Premiere Pro, and it also gives me those lovely Chrome extensions. And that's why it suited me the most. Now for you it may be different, and if you don't care about those things, then I'd probably recommend you get something else. And of course, I talk a lot about Photoshop and Premiere Pro. They're the ones that are most relevant to me. But if you can think of other programs that you could run fully on these that you can't on an iPad, then it's probably the right one for you too. So there we have it. These are my thoughts on the Surface Pro 7. Make sure to leave any of your thoughts down in the comments. And if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, you know what to do. And thanks a lot for watching.